get a copy. Okay, so basically what we're looking at here is looking at saying we're wanting our life and our business to basically be led by our dreams, not pushed by our problems. That's the point. Is sometimes people are basing their life on their problems and how to sort out their problems, and they're not basing it on their dreams and where they want to go. So it's saying, let's have our life led by our dreams and not pushed by our problems, because so often people wake up and just basically dictate their life around their problems. So we're wanting to focus on the positive, on where we're actually going. So then just to introduce myself, those of you that know me know that I'm known as a bit of a planning queen. I love helping people with business planning and getting clarity. Too many businesses are going under. Represented Australia a few times, been married for a long time, built and sold businesses, and my story's been nominated as one of WA's inspirational women. So that's just for people who don't know who I am. So getting stuck into it, this is a great time of year to as we're coming into the new financial year, to just recalibrate and take stock of where are we and where are we actually going. So this little formula here is a great formula for checking on where are we at right now and where are we actually going. So what we're looking at here is saying, what are our dreams or our visions? Where do we want to go? What does our business look like? Our dream business or our vision of our business? What does our dream life look like? What goals do we have that we need to achieve on the way to actually getting to that dream or vision? And what plans do we have in place to achieve it? And have we got some actions put in our calendar to actually do? So the clearer we are on this formula, then the greater our chances of our success are actually at achieving that. So just to help everyone, I want you to have a look at saying, all right, if I'm going to give myself a score out of 10 on how clear am I on my dreams and visions, overall, what would you score yourself? So just get a bit of paper and write the actual formula down, write the sum down. What are you going to give yourself a score out of 10 on your dreams and visions? And then going down and saying, okay, well, how clear am I on my goals? My goals have got to be specific. So do I have specific goals in my business? Do I have specific goals in my life, in my personal life, in my fitness, all around our life? What would I score myself out of 10 on how clear I am on those goals? And then next, have I got plans in place? And again, score yourself out of 10 on what your plans are like. And the last one is actions, if you've actually got actions in your calendar to actually follow through. So when we look at this, we're saying, with this sum I've got here on the slide, this is out of your chances of success, we've given ourselves 12 here. So what we're wanting to look at, my goal over the next hour, is to increase your chances of success so that we can actually increase that number down the bottom over what we're going to go through. So I hope everyone has a score and that they're clear on how they measure up in these areas at the moment. So just having a look at that, if we're wanting to change, so we're wanting to change that number, that chance of success, how do we do that? Well, this is a little formula that I often use in coaching. So this formula here, now I'm wondering if everyone can see these slides, because I can't actually see the slides on this other screen, and I will just check. Can you see the slides? Are you on? Can you see what I see at the moment? Let me have a look here. I'm just going to unmute Pete because I know Pete. Pete, can you see the slides that I'm going through?
No, it's still on the Rottnest one.
It's still on the Rottnest one. Okay. So
oh, there you go. That's better.
Okay, so this is the formula I just showed. Sorry, I'll put that. So that's the formula that I just showed. And then here, this is what I was giving you the score of. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the score. Sorry, I was wondering why it wasn't going through. Okay, so that's the score. So have you given yourself a score out of the clarity on the dreams and visions, the clarity of the goals, the clarity of your plans, the actions, and done a total score at the end? So now you can see that. That's a little bit easier. Does that make more sense now?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, good. Perfect. So now if we look at the formula for change, then if we're wanting to increase that number, so how do we change that number? Well, there is a formula. We want to say, well, what are we dissatisfied with our life at the moment? What is it that we're dissatisfied with? Is it our health? Is it our business? Is it our relationships? Is it our family? What is it? Is it our environment? So what is it that we're dissatisfied, and what's the vision of what we want? What's the vision of success? What does it actually look like? And then from that, say, what are the first steps I'm going to do to change that? And if we have first steps, then we're going to break through resistance. So again, if you're going to give yourself a score out of how dissatisfied are you, how clear are you of the vision out of 10, how clear are you, how determined are you to change this dissatisfaction out of 10, plus first steps, again, must be out of 10. They have to be, it's got to be greater than 100%, because the resistance currently is 100%. Whatever it is that you're not changing is because it's not being changed. So that's the formula for success, for actually changing something if you're dissatisfied and want to change something. So it's a great little formula, and I use it often with helping people break past whatever that 100% resistance is. We just need to tweak up the dissatisfaction, tweak up the vision, and get very clear on what the first steps are. So when people are in a situation where they want to change, what often happens is that people stay where they are because of fear. And fear is probably the most common reason people stay where they are. And it really is just that, false expectations appearing real. They're not actually true. Yes, there's fear from accidents and things like that, but the fears that people find hold them back from moving forward in their life, they are just they're false. So we've got to make sure that we push past that and say, well, they're not actually real. So how do we go through this planning process? Well, we start with the end in mind. We want to get clear of what is the vision of success. What do you actually want to achieve? What does success look like? So if we're looking at saying we look at our whole life holistically, we use this little wheel of life that can often be very helpful with saying, all right, well, where am I, with my life at the moment? What parts of the life do I want to change? And what does the vision of success look like? So we've got here career, might be wanting to be promoted, or might want to, put on a manager, or might want to grow the business. Money, someone, has put here they want to pay off a car loan. Health, be able to run a 5K run. Family, have a social event. Romance, have some disconnect from phone time. Personal growth, read a new book. Fun, go on 2 holidays. Physical environment, renovate. So we're wanting to say, what is the vision of success? What do you actually want? What is your vision of where you want to go look like? And then look at giving yourself a score in each one of these areas of where you are actually at now. So if you score yourself with each area where you're at now, it gives you a great stock of, this is where I am now, and this is the vision of where I want to go to. So that way you've got a really clear snapshot of what you're actually looking to achieve. So with this wheel of life, this is just a blank one that I'll get Renee to email you, that you can go through yourself and and have a play with it and look at what's your vision of success in the different areas of your life. And you could use this for your business as well. So when we're looking at a vision, the thing about a vision, so this is where you want to go in the future, it must enroll and inspire. It's got to be enrolling and inspiring. It's got to be something that really ignites your passion inside of you. It's got to be something that drives you to actually get up and to follow through with those actions. It can't be something that's somebody else's. It's got to be yours. And then once you're enrolled and inspired to do it, then the next thing is you can look at having some goals that are actually part of achieving that. So when you've got goals that are stepping stones to achieving that vision, what it does is it gives you direction and it gives you focus. It helps generate momentum. It helps you grow. And it also stops distraction. So it's part of the way to achieve that vision, to actually having those little stepping stones, those goals along the way, so that you actually know that you're on the road to achieving that vision, whatever that vision of success may be. So the other thing about goals is they're like a compass for your brain. So what they do is they set your RAS. So your RAS is your reticular activating system. And what it is, it's a compass at the back of your brain that identifies things that you've already specified. So what it is if you decide that, I want to buy a new car, and say the car is, a Honda Prelude that's red or whatever. Then all of a sudden, every time you see those cars in that color and that model, all of a sudden your RAS is activated. And that works exactly the same with goals. So once you identify a goal, then it's your RAS is set. So it's so much easier to achieve it, because it will be anything that happens in your life that is going to get you closer to achieving that goal. You will be highlighted. So if you've ever decided, I'm going to go on a trip to Bali, all of a sudden you probably see all these trips to Bali coming up. And they've always been there before. It's just that your RAS is set. So you can actually, they're highlighted straight away. So then once we've got our RAS set, then we need to go and have a look and say, okay, what happens here? We need to get specific. We've got our goal set. So now we've got the goal. So the goal might be to hire a new office manager by this date. Fabulous. Then, okay, it needs to SMART. We need to get specific. We need to get measurable. We need to get achievable, and we need to get realistic and timely. So specific is it's got to be something that's either done or not done. It can't be, I'd like to get more of this. It's got to be yes or no. No black or white. It needs to be measurable so that we can see that we've actually achieved it or not. So it might be time, it might be dollars, it might be an achievement, and it needs to be achievable. So it's actually something that is actually achievable it's humanly achievable, as in other people have done it. And it must be realistic for you to be able to do it within your own realms of possibility. So achievables, looking at outside, have people done it? Realistic is whether you can do it. And timely, it must have a time frame on it, so that we know when you're actually going to achieve that goal or not. So that then we know exactly when you need to be doing what by when. So if we're looking at these goals, so we've got our long-term vision of where we want to go, and now we need to look at, okay, what are the goals? We've got them specific, measurable and achievable and realistic, and we've got a time. There's different levels of goals. So we might have 5 or 10-year goals. We might have 3-year goals, 12-month goals, and also 90-day goals. So if we're looking at goals in these 4 levels, it means that we're always looking long-term. We've always got that long-term view in mind, but as well as coming down to the short-term view. So that way, we're always keeping our focus on, are we on the right track? Are we on the right track to achieving what we want to achieve? And it makes it nice and clear. So I wanted to show this slide just to highlight the importance of goals. So this was a study done by a psychology professor in California. They conducted a study on goal setting and writing goals, 267 participants, and they found these results. So basically, people that had written goals were 42% more likely to achieve them. So if we have a look at this one, people were just asked to think about goals here. And then these people were asked to write them down. So these people achieved 42% higher achievements. These people were asked to write them down and to formulate action commitments. And they were just a little bit higher. But then the highest, 77.6% higher achievement, is people who were written down. They got reports, they got reminders, and they also had an accountability partner. So what we're doing now is increasing our chances by actually going through that. That's how we achieve goals more. That's how we go on and actually get them achieved. So if we go on and say, all right, we've got our goals, we've got our vision, you know, we're going to write down some specific goals. Where do we actually start? So it's really a good idea to look at it and start a 90-day focus. So start looking at, okay, what's going to happen in the next 90 days? What's crucial to achieving my 12-month goals, and what's crucial from my 12-month to achieving my 2-3-year goals. So with a 90-day goal, it's long enough to sort of get some meaty results. So I generally work on the 4 quarters. Then that way we're in line with the business quarters, the financial quarters. It's also short enough to be reactive. You can really get some good results in a quarter. A month is just a little bit too long. It's not long enough to delay. If something's got to be done in the quarter, it needs to be done in the quarter. So I would urge you to look at getting very clear on what are the goals for that quarter. You know, what do you need to achieve? So this is an example of a bit of a plan that you can work on yourself, that comes out of that wheel of life. And it's looking at saying, okay, what was the goal? What is the goal that I'd like to achieve in the next 3 months? Or it could be a long-term goal. So it could be later. And these are just some starting actions. And what's your reward? So this is just a simple spreadsheet, but it's a great way to just keep track of what are the things that I'm wanting to work on, and what do I want to achieve them by, and what actions do I need to do along that process. So it's something that I can get sent to you as something that you can use yourself, and put these categories, or change them to other ones if you want to. But it's just a great way to get clear on what's important to get achieved and what needs to be done. So if we're looking at getting our plan together and saying, all right, you know, with planning, you know, it's really in the planning that's crucial. You know, Abraham Lincoln, I love this quote, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. So Abraham Lincoln, you know, knew the power of planning, and that planning is crucial. That's why with business owners, I spend a good 2 days getting a really clear plan of what the new financial year looks like. So when we've got this plan, it's really important that the plan must be a solid plan, and it must be real. It must relate to the business. So we need to know, okay, exactly the same with our whole life holistically, where are we now and where do we actually want to go to? And then, you know, if we've got those strong foundations of this is where we are now and this is a vision of where we want to go to, whether it's the business or whether it's your life, the foundations are a lot stronger because you've had that time to plan and you've got clear. So if we're looking at, you know, a house without a plan, it's funny, you know, people on average, 80% of business owners go under in the first 5 years or are not there anymore. Imagine if 8 out of 10 houses fell over. Imagine if that happened. Imagine if you know, you didn't need a plan to build a house. So it's a reminder for me all the time when I sort of think when people build houses, they wouldn't do it without a plan. So when we talk about goals without a plan, they're a wish. That's what they are, and our life is important. So we need to plan it just the same as we do with a business plan. So when you've written up your plan, it's important to have it visible, so you can see it every day. wherever it is, in your workspace, in your office, in your bedroom, wherever. Have it visible so you can see it every day. Most plans should come down to a one-pager. Business plans or life plans can be very detailed, and it's important to get the learning out of the detail, but then we can pull it down to what we're going to get done over this quarter, and that can come down to a one-page plan. You can also come down to a one-page plan for the year as well. Review it regularly, add to it when necessary. Things change all the time. It's important to add to it when necessary. Acknowledge achievements. If there have been achievements along the way, it's really important to acknowledge them, because then we get a kick out of success as we're going along. Make sure that everybody knows that what you are actually wanting to achieve. Whenever I've got a big race coming up or a big event coming up, I will always put the plan on the fridge so that everybody can see, okay, what do I want to achieve? So that if I'm still in bed and I'm meant to be up, it's just a way of extra accountability, and then that way it's much easier for me to achieve it, because I've got it visible. I've told everyone about it. Once I've committed to other people, it's something that I don't want to let myself down by actually not following through with what I've told everyone I'm going to do. Make sure there's a reward. Rewards are really important. Rewards are so important because they spur us on. Other people's goals are important too. Learning about other people's goals and what they want to achieve is important, because, you know, that old law of reciprocity. If you help, Zig Ziglar, I think, said it, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And so that law of reciprocity, that law of giving, that law of helping, is really important in success, because I love finding out about people's goals. I love helping people without, you know, if they want to work with me, they work with me, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine as well. I'm just happy to help people, and it will always come back with everything in life. So if you're just all about your goals and not about other people's, then they're not going to help you achieve yours. So it's important to learn about other people's goals, see how you can help them achieve it, and then they will in turn hopefully want to help you to achieve it. So what do we have when we're looking at our plan? What should be included in our plan, whether it's a plan for our business or whether it's a plan for our life? We need to know what the actions are, as far as who's doing what, by when and why and how. So it's looking at, all right, we've got this plan. What are the key strategies that are going to help us actually achieve the plan? So a common one that I have people say, it might be, I've got to update my website. Okay, great. When do we want the website updated by? Who's going to be fully accountable to actually making sure that the website gets up by that date? You know, why is it important, and how high is that priority? Is it important because that's how you get your visibility to your clients? That increases your credibility by having a good web presence. So, and how are we going to do it? Is a website going to be done by somebody internally? Is it going to be somebody overseas? Is it going to be somebody local? What's the budget? So it's very important when we have a strategy to get very clear on, okay, what are those actions and who's going to be accountable? And if you're a business owner, it's important to look at saying, what can I delegate? Who else could do this? Who else is better at this than me? Because as business owners, we can't do it all ourselves. It's not possible. So often I see with business owners, when we're looking at the actions, there is not enough clarity of what their expectations are. So one person hears one thing and the other. So getting the website up to date, well, that's just a really nice, clear action. But hold on, when, you know, what's the budget? You know, who's accountable to doing it? How are we going to do it? There's so many different things around it. So being clear about the details of the actions can have a really big impact on the actual outcome itself. And the other thing as well is around time. You know, time frames are really, I suppose, they have a really big impact on the outcome. of what you're wanting to achieve in your plan of your business or your plan of life. So everybody has the same amount of time, but it's what we do with the time. And I think if I had to say what's the biggest gap with people when they do create a really great business plan or a really great personal plan or a great life plan, what is the gap? Well, I would definitely say the gap is the time. They might make the really great plan up, but what happens is that they forget to put the time in their actual calendar or their diary. They forget to make appointments with themselves to implement those actions and those strategies that will lead to their outcome. So allocating the time is essential in any achieving of any plan, because there's no point in having a wonderful plan if you're not going to action it. But there's no point in having a great list of actions if they're not actually going to be put in your diary. That's the key. And that's often the key that people miss out on. So making sure that gap is filled. The other is, having that attitude of success, having that successful attitude, that attitude of, I'm going to, take ownership. I'm going to be accountable and responsible for my outcomes. At actually stepping up and taking that oar and going and rowing with it and saying, okay, this is my responsibility. This is my life. This is my business. This is my house, whatever. This is my body. I'm going to take full ownership. So often I'll have people come to me and, it's your bed and you lie in it. They will point the finger at blame, excuses, denial, or it's all my team's fault, or it's the GFC's fault, or it's the economic climate's fault, or it's everybody else's fault except their own. But I see, businesses of the same type, some very successful, some not. The difference is the person who's driving it. You see some people the same age and they've got a happy, body that's functioning really well and supporting them to meet their goals and dreams, and others of the same age are not looking after their body, so it can't support them in fulfilling their dreams and whatever they're wanting to get achieved. So taking ownership and having accountability and responsibility is really crucial in actually fulfilling any goal or any plan. And it's that mindset of success that is key. So it's important to have that first. In relation to accountability, that is another key of actually achieving a successful plan, and picking a date to have an accountability buddy is crucial. So it could be your best friend, it could be your wife, your partner, it could be your children, it could be a mate. It's really important to get clarity over, okay, what date? You are my accountability buddy. Let's hold each other accountable to fulfilling our dreams and our goals or our plans. What date should we catch up? And this is what I want to get achieved by that date. Make sure you're very clear on email addresses, phone numbers, everything like that, so that there's no excuses, and get your top 3 goals shared. Get your top 3 goals shared so that you both are holding each other accountable to your top 3 goals that you want to actually achieve. And then that way you're going to increase your chances of success. Zig Ziglar, one of my old-time favorites. I love his comment here. It's not what happens to you that determines how far you'll go in life. It's how you handle what happens to you. And that's the important thing. And, from my own personal experience, when my husband and I were newly married, he got, caught in a really bad house fire that got 30% odd of his body, 3rd-degree burns. The rest of it was 2nd and 1st-degree burns. And, it was the biggest tragedy, biggest trauma I've ever had to go through in my life. And I dragged him out of the burning house and got him in our pool, and he was rushed by ambulance to the hospital, and the fire engine put the house out. And a few days later he was in such a bad condition that he passed away, and he was gone for, I don't know, it seemed like an eternity, but it was probably only a few seconds. It was probably only half a minute or something, I don't know. But anyway, he had a choice to come back or to stay, and to come back or to leave. And he had one of these out-of-body experiences. And when we got married, we did this. We went through and wrote our life plan out, and we got very clear on, you know, we wanted to start a business, we wanted to have children, we wanted to backpack the world, we wanted to buy a holiday house, we wanted to do property investing. We had this massive list of all the things we were going to do over the next 50 years together, and broke it all down. It was actually Zig Ziglar's workshop that we were at in Melbourne. And when he had that choice, when he was having that out-of-body experience, do I stay or do I come back? He said he saw me and he saw that list, and he said, I'd only just started the journey and I wasn't going to let you down, so I didn't want to leave. I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew I'd screwed up royally, but we'd made those plans and we'd committed ourselves, and I just didn't want to stop when we'd only just started. And I think that's probably one of the things that fuels me. That's one of my biggest whys to helping people to get clear on what are their goals, and what are their dreams, and what do we have to do to get that commitment to achieve them. Because when people achieve their goals and dreams, whether it's in business or whether it's in life, it can change their life and leave a legacy beyond their wildest dreams, way beyond their wildest dreams, because it's only our limiting beliefs that are holding us back. And so, you know, are your dreams and goals and plans, are they so clear for you and the people that you love that could potentially bring someone back from the dead, like I had in my situation, because that was powerful. And if we hadn't have done that, I wonder if he would have had such a magnet that was pulling him back, because he said he'd done all those plans and commitments and didn't want to let me down. And I just wonder if he would have given up, because we'd only just got married. I was only 22 or something. So, you know, hindsight's an interesting thing, but it gives me that drive to say, get clear on where you want to go and get committed, and break it down and put it in your real life, so that you do actually, you know, hit the tarmac and start working on them straight away. And that's, you know, that's very, very powerful why for me. And it was Zig Ziglar who started it off, and I must have been probably 19 when I went to his workshop with David. So I'm back to the beginning again, you know, which is being led by your dreams and not pushed by your problems. And it's saying, you know, what are the dreams and what are the plans that I need to do them? So when we look at the score that you had at the start, my hope is that you've increased your score. So what I'm wanting you to look at is, have your dreams got a bit clearer? Are you a bit clearer on where you want to go? And have you started to think a bit more on some specific goals that you want to achieve? And have you got a little bit clearer on what plans that you need to do and the actions that need to happen, so that you can increase the probability of success from what it was at the start to what it is now. And then that way you can get this, get this plan here. Where is it? Here it is. Get this plan. I wanted to go back to the plan. Let me go back here. So that if you get this plan that we will send you, here it is here. So that if you get this plan, you will be, oh, hold on, here it is here. You'll get the plan, here it is here. And your probability of success will be increased dramatically. Now, some people use a 12 months, and this is just related to your wheel of life. Some people like a 12-month one, and other people like a quarterly one. So it's, yeah, totally up to you. But the clearer you are on all of those areas I've just gone through, the higher your chances will be to actually succeed in your goals. So starting now is the critical part of the whole thing. So I hope that's helped, and I'm going to open. Can you hear me, Peter?
Yes.
So do you have any questions? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It's really good. It just highlights what I don't really know, or what I haven't given a great deal of thought to, and what I actually need to give a lot more thought to, and
So
allocate time to do it.
yeah, so you know, if you look here at this, I'm going back to the one that you never even saw at the beginning. If you look at this one here, have you got clarity on what each of those scores are of where you are actually in at the moment?
Not really. It's not written plans. So without, like you say, without them being written down, you know, it reduces your chance of them happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, the key is the learning and going through that journey. Is actually, you know, going through that journey of, well, what do I really want? You know, and what do I have to do to achieve it? Because sometimes, you know, I find we're so busy in the busyness of every day that we don't have time to sit down and just think about, well, what do I want? You know, what would I like? Would I prefer to go here or here?
Yeah.
And getting that clarity is imperative, and then putting the actions in the calendar so that you can actually go and do them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely allocating the time. There's no question. You just got to do it. Like you said, talking about it doesn't achieve anything. You've got to do it.
Yeah, but the step of often clarifying it first can be that driver in actually getting the actions in, because sometimes if we don't know what we want, it's like saying, oh, I want to go on holiday, but once you've booked and decided where you want to go, then you're really excited about saving up for it. But until you've booked a date and decided where you want to go, there's not really that drive there to save up for it.
Yeah.
And so that's why, you know, with business, it's no different. Getting a plan and saying, all right, great, well, look, I would like my business to turn over this by then. I'd like to have, you know, an operations manager in place, or I'd like to have a marketing plan in place. I want to update my website or whatever it is, and then going and breaking them down and getting the timing and the actions in place, delegating them to someone or putting them in your own calendar. Okay, when is it realistic to actually get this achieved?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can follow through and actually go and achieve it.
Yeah.
And then that way, when you just slowly but surely chopping off the little bit and doing it, it's like, wow, it's not so hard. It was just that plan that I had to get in place first, and then put it in the calendar, and then go and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, sometimes once people have done that and then put the actions in their diary, it seems a lot easier than they actually thought, because the appointment with themselves is already there.
Yeah. No, I do a lot of that already, but I could certainly, there's a lot of room for improvement, no question.
Yeah. And it's, I think it's having that, what do you call it? That self, you know, what do you call it when you're disciplined, the self-discipline to actually make sure that they get followed through with, because I'm the same as everyone else. I'll put things in my calendar and then something will come up and I'll think, oh, I can do that another day. But the crucial thing is, I think, is to keep, even if there's an appointment, say to work on something on your business or work on something on your life or your health or whatever, is if that appointment is there and something more important comes up, fine, but as long as it doesn't get bumped out of the calendar, as long as it stays in the calendar, just change it to another day so that you don't actually lose the action.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll see people will prioritize something because life happens, like people are sick or whatever, people at work get sick and you have to jump in their job. But long as we don't take it out altogether, long as we just reschedule it.
Yeah. That happens all the time.
Yeah, and then that way, at least we're still keeping that action that's working on the business or working on ourselves, that's actually going to help us to achieve that success.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your biggest area that you would probably need to work on as far as, you know, that whole planning process of how to achieve, you know, success more?
I don't know. I think probably a bit of each, to be honest. But it's just, you know, formulating the goals. That's probably the biggest thing. Rather than just having them in your mind, bouncing around. Let's, you know, really ratify, you know, put it down on paper or, you know, formulate it.
Yes. And I think it's important when you look at something like this here, the that study, it's quite incredible how much how it's different, your chances of success. If I can find it again, where it is. I'll get it. Oh, here it is, here.
Yeah, yeah.
The difference of your probability of success once you've written them down, and once you've got goals, and once you've got an accountability partner.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's absolutely, and there's lots of studies. I've seen heaps of studies done on this, and it's quite powerful, because you think, wow, so all I have to do is go through the process, write them down, put them in my diary and calendar, and actually do it, and I'm going to get success. It's like, wow, it can't be that easy.
Yeah, no, it's good. Can you just go back to that wheel of life?
Yeah. I think Renee's probably emailed it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that you can have here.
No, the one where it was populated. What was that?
That's the populated one. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is just, you know, as you know, I work in helping people get very clear on their business plans. But I just, you know, like to have a look at this, because it's like, well, we do business for our life, our own life. So it's really important to be able to have a look at the life, at where we are in everything else as well, because us as a person, if we're not functioning as a person, we're not going to be functioning as a business owner. So it's a great idea to have a good snapshot of, okay, how's my wheel of life going? Am I out of kilter at all? Or where can I work on? So that then I can, if I've got a business, then I can work on having a really good plan for the business. If your health was declining because you weren't looking after it, or if your head was muddled because your physical environment was a mess, or if your marriage was falling apart because you were spending more time in the business than your family, there needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of, often use this wheel of life to say, okay, well, what's the long-term vision of where you want to go? What does the business need to deliver? Because businesses get sold and bought all the time. The business is just a shortcut to an outcome. It's just got to deliver us some income or some mental and self-satisfaction, so that we can do the rest of this stuff, which is the wheel of life.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if we can have the balance, then it means that we can be as high performing as possible. And then that way we can perform well in our job or as a business owner if we've got both sides balanced. So do you have any questions for me, Peter?
No, it was, took quite a few notes, so I'll just sit down and go through them.
I will get Renee to send that to you, and you can go through that. And also this one here, which is the plan. I'll get her to send you a blank plan as well, a quarterly plan. Just that one there. Whoops. I'll get her to send you a blank one of them as well.
Oh, cool. Thanks for that.
Because that relates to the wheel of life, so that then you can say, okay, well, this is what I want to achieve over the next quarter.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a quarterly. Oh, that's
just a quarter.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, some people do like a year, I can send you both if you want, but a quarter is a good amount of time because it's quite a short time.
And like you say, you can do multiple of them. You can have 4 of them.
Exactly. You can get a good achievement, but often in 12 months things change and it's like, oh no, it's all changed.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if it's quarterly, you can say, okay, well, it's new quarter. What am I going to get achieved with my whole wheel of life?
Yeah. No,
and then that way you've got the business or the work, but you've also focusing on fun stuff as well that you do.
Yeah.
But I think it's mainly, as I said, getting that clarity over what does success look like for you and breaking it up. Breaking it up into the action so that you can actually achieve them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It makes perfect sense. It's just putting it all together. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, no worries. That's understandable. It's like I suppose it's just it makes sense, but the doing it is the hard bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I suppose that's why I love doing those 2-day workshops that we've spoken of. And you can't make the next one, can you?
No, it's not the right time at the minute.
No, that's all right. But that's why I love going through that because I have so many aha moments, and often people get emotional and teary because it's like, oh my God, I've never spent 2 days just getting really clear on where I want to go. This is great. Because we chop it up into 6 sections of the business, exactly the same as a wheel of life, but is in the business. And we go through all the finances, we go through all the marketing, we go through all the clients, we go through all the products, we go through where you want to go. And it's like, gosh, this is great because I can just have this clear time to break down where I want to go, break down my gaps and what strategies I need to be walking away knowing I have to do. And that just gives... this light-hearted clarity of, wow, I'm clear now. That's like cleaning out the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Which is great for everybody.
Yeah.
So hopefully one day you'll be able to join us.
I will. One day I'll get there, I promise.
No worries. We would love to have you whenever it's the right time. That's absolutely wonderful. Well, I hope that's been of some value to you. Do you have any other questions?
No, I haven't, Suzanne, but thank you very much. It was very informative. It's very good.
No worries. And I'll get Renee to send those 2 templates that you can play with.
That'll be appreciated. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll get me thinking about it.
No worries. That's good. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Suzanne.
No worries. See ya. Bye.
Bye.